So I found out that my boyfriend cracked his head open, and I called him, and he said he remembers a lot, but he doesn't remember everything. I guess he woke up from the hospital, and his dad said, "Do you want to call Sierra?" He said, "Who's Sierra?" You know. A lot of you have been asking me about my boyfriend and his head injury and if it's gotten better, how we're doing. Well, he's back from KC. He came back a week ago. We are no longer together. Turns out he tried cheating. He's not been there for me. He makes me feel like crap. His head injury did come back. Didn't. It got better in the next 3 days. He remembers everything. He's fine. He's been in town for the past 2 weeks. He has not tried to contact me. He has not visited. I don't know if he wants anything to do with the baby. He says he does, but he hasn't helped out. Ex-boyfriend. And I actually talked to him a couple minutes ago, and he said the reason why he hasn't came see me the past couple weeks is because he can't afford to drive down here, and he doesn't have gas, and none of his friends will take him down here. Not sure if I believed him, so I'm really irritated at him. He's been saying I'm being immature and how I'm not doing anything right, and every day it's looking more like he's not going to be in his son's life. He hasn't been here the whole time I've been pregnant, and I don't want somebody who's around my kid like that. And he said he hasn't been smoking, and I think he has been, so I told him I would drug test him, and he's like, well, what if I don't take it? What if I don't do this? So he said, if you drug test me, I'm going to get you a DNA test. I said, sure. Get the DNA test as long as you pay for it, because I don't have $200, $300 laying around to get that. So he's like, oh, okay. So whatever. As far as Justin goes, I am really irritated, and he really makes me feel like crap every day.
Hi everybody, today's video is going to be another long video, and I suggest you grab a snack or a full course meal because I have a lot to talk about. I originally never planned on doing a part 2 video, however things came up and new situations arose, and I had to make this video because things just got really crazy, and I will explain everything here in a minute, but I guess I should give a little backstory. This is part 2, so if you haven't seen part 1, there will be a link in the description, and you can click that and go watch the other one and come back here to finish this one. But just to sum it up, when I was 15, I was raped, statutory, and manipulated, and it was just a whole situation, and I became pregnant, had my son, had an adoption, and I'm finally at a place in my life where I feel good enough to open about this with YouTube and be real about my story. Now, originally, when I made that video, I wasn't completely sure if I was going to upload it. I was really nervous, but the feedback I received was amazing and also really sad because I had pages and pages of comments and DMs on my Instagram and Twitter of people saying they related to me, of people saying that they blamed themselves until they watched that video. So after I made that video, a few days goes by, and I noticed I got a message from a girl, and I opened it up not expecting anything, and it was someone who had been with the guy, we're calling him Tyler, who got me pregnant. I said this in my part 1 video, but I said I knew he had another child out there, and I knew there could be more, and also more women that he did this to, but I didn't really know who they were or anything about that, and I was not expecting to receive the next message I got. And I opened the message, and it's this girl, and she said, I just finished watching your video, and it was really hard for me. That guy Tyler got me pregnant when I was 16, and over the past few years we have been on and off, and I just ended my engagement with him because of your video. And I was so caught off guard because I was not expecting this. She said, you know, I watched your video and it gave me the courage to end things, and it made me realize that he's never going to be the same. If I never would have put out that video, she could have been married to him. She could have continued her life with him. And when she told me that he got her pregnant at 16, that made me realize I wasn't the only girl he statutory raped. And this was, you know, 2 to 3 years later. So he would have been even older and she would have been even younger, which blows my mind that someone could do that multiple times to a young girl. After talking to her, she told me of another girl that he got pregnant, and I was so blown away. I thought, you know, he got me pregnant, he got another 16-year-old pregnant, who's this other girl? And I reached out to her, and her story totally changed everything. And I said I wasn't gonna cry in this video, but let's be real, any video I make about my feelings, I cry, and it's really sad. I basically found out that he had brutally raped her. And the craziest part is, after he raped the one girl, 3 days later, he statutory raped the 16-year-old. So their babies were born 3 days apart. I found all this out in one day, and it was very overwhelming. And I was so upset. I was enraged with anger. And I felt so sad for these girls because I knew what they had been through. And, you know, I'm lucky enough where I have a giant support system online, and these girls don't have that. And they even told me, you know, they told me it's still hard for them today. And it broke my heart. About an hour later, he sends me a message, and I haven't talked to him since I made the video. Like I said, he just never replied to me, and it's just a random message, and it says, "That was before I found you out. You were making me out to be a rapist, so yeah, forget that." And I knew I shouldn't have replied, but I was so upset, and I just kept replaying the story that this girl had told me, that I said, well, good luck for you, because I've been doing a digging and found out that you've actually raped girls besides just statutory. Your ass is going to jail. And of course, I wasn't for sure if he was actually going to jail. I was just so enraged, I didn't know what to say, and his reply was, "Okay, sure, LOL." That's so sick. How can you just, "Okay, sure, LOL"? How is someone so messed up and sick to just do this to people? And I was so furious. I was so mad. And, you know, that weekend, my husband and I, we planned on going camping, and it was this big thing we had planned. I couldn't stop replaying this story that this girl told me, and every 5 minutes I would just bawl and cry, and I felt so bad, and I felt terrible for what this guy had done to other girls. I knew he did it to me, but of course when it happens to you, it's different, you know, it's just you. But to find out he hurt girls like that, worse than me, changed it. And so this whole trip, I kept telling myself, I don't know if I can go on this trip. I don't know if I can have a good time, because I was depressed. I was angry. I was really upset. I swear, taking care of a baby and filming is the hardest thing. I was so worried I wasn't going to be able to enjoy this camping trip, and the point of the camping trip was to disconnect myself from social media and reconnect with myself, but it was so hard knowing that I had all this sitting on my chest and there wasn't anything I felt like I could do. Thankfully, the trip was exactly what I needed, and I was able to unwind and kind of let go of the situation for a little bit, which was very good for my health because I was becoming very depressed over it. And I'll insert some pictures of our camping trip, and all I want to say is, if you're having a really hard time with something, just go out with nature and connect with that, because if it weren't for the camping trip, I feel like I wouldn't have been able to kind of unwind my mind and focus on myself before getting back into this situation. Like I said in part 1, when I have found out I was pregnant, he ended up leaving and going to Kansas City, and he said he cracked his head open and he couldn't remember anything.
I found out that my boyfriend cracked his head open, and I called him and he said he remembers a lot, but he doesn't remember everything.
Now, when I was younger, I believed that and I fell for it. She told me the truth. And, you know, I always wondered, did he really crack his head? Was he lying? And that was actually a question I was going to ask him if I could have interviewed him. And she said, by the way, him saying he cracked his head was a lie. He begged his dad to come get him. At least that's what his mom told me the day I was leaving. Because she said she regrets basically letting him be around his dad because he abused her. So it was true. He did lie about his head, and that was something else that he manipulated me and tried to I don't know, lie about to make me understand him. And you know, in this message, it says that his dad abused his mom, and you know, maybe that's why he abuses women and he rapes women and he treats women the way that he does, because he grew up around it. Thankfully, I was able to at least get some closure about him lying and saying he cracked his head, because the truth was, I never really knew if that was true or not. But that brings me back to these two girls. And I'm at the point now where I just can't sit and not do anything. You know, when it just happened to me, I always thought, you know, maybe I should go to court, maybe I should get something done, but I never thought I could at this point in my life. And that's when I decided to reach out to one of my friends. She kind of works with the police department and knows a lot, and she said that luckily there are no limitations for how long you can wait to report a situation. So I'm going to go ahead and file a report against him talking about the statutory rape. It's been 5 years later, and I don't know if anything will happen, but I hope that me doing something and at least trying to spread the word that maybe something can get done, and at least it will sit in my gut knowing that I tried to do something. Even though my adopted son is not mine, I don't want him to have any more siblings out of rape. This guy is only 25 or something now. If he's already had 3 babies out of this whole situation, how many more could he have by the time, you know, his life is over? It blows my mind, because I don't want him to be out there getting more girls pregnant and having more kids out of rape, because that's hard to deal with and that's sad. And I know I was able to get through it and these other women are still able to get through it, but what happens when he kills someone or a girl kills themselves because of what he did? You know I thought about suicide. I know one of the other girls said that she thought about suicide as well but couldn't leave her children. And I know that we may have been strong enough to fight through it, but what happens when a girl kills herself after he does that to someone else? Or what happens when he goes too far and he kills someone? And that's another reason I feel like I was supposed to make that first video, because I could be saving someone's life. After talking to one of the girls and after her watching my video, I got her to agree to go and file a report too. You know, yes, we're coming out about it now. We could have came out about it then, but when someone does that to you, it's not easy just to go to the cops. It's not easy to share your story. You know, we were both ashamed. All 3 of us were ashamed. We were scared. It does something to you. So yes, it's years later. Just because you were sexually assaulted so long ago does not mean you can't still do something now. And I hope that he will at least be charged as a sexual predator. I know I've healed and I've had closure and I've moved on, but these girls aren't. So if you guys could please leave a nice comment for those girls. Hopefully they can use those words to find strength within themselves. After having so many of you guys reach out to me, it made me realize that this could happen to me again. I'm going to be honest. I haven't really said this online before, and I don't want to get into the details because I've already shared at least one of my stories, but unfortunately this wasn't the only time I was sexually assaulted in my life. And unfortunately, if I am 21 years old and it's happened to me multiple times, it may happen to me again in my life. And I know I haven't talked about those other stories because I'm still coming to closure with those as well, but I know it can happen to me again. And now I have a baby. I have taken the precautions to start learning about self-defense. My whole life I've been scared of going out at night. I've been scared of going places. There's been times I haven't even gone to Walmart because of the looks older men give me and being so sexualized at my age. And knowing that now I will have a way to protect myself may actually make me feel better when I do go out and I go out with my baby. And so if you're scared to go out, know that there are steps you can take. There are classes you can take. There are things you can do to better protect yourself. And I say we should teach our daughters how to protect themselves as well, and our sons. I want to say if you're someone who still hasn't came to terms with your sexual assault, you don't have to make a video about it. You don't necessarily have to go tell someone, but at least know that you can move on and that you are not defined by what that man or what that woman did to you. The thing is, it's way too taboo to talk about this. I know it's sad. I know it's crazy and it's scary, but it happens. It's real and we need to talk about it. it. As a community, we shouldn't have to be afraid to talk about rape, to talk about sex, to talk about these things, because it happened to a lot of people. The longer we make it taboo, the longer we make it weird to talk about, the more people aren't going to share their stories, the more people aren't going to go to the police. I'm not saying you have to share your story or you have to tell the world what happened to you, but we have to come together and let people know that this really does happen and it's okay to talk about it, and it's not so taboo, it's not so weird. Unfortunately, one of the girls I am close with is in the hospital because of some stuff that happened to her baby. She's been in the hospital for a long time, and I'm going to put a link to her GoFundMe in the description because she has racked up a lot of hospital bills. I know she's not going to go around asking a bunch of people, but I have the chance to help someone. Our kids are siblings. Even if mine's adopted, she has a special place in my heart. So if you feel nice enough to donate some money to her situation, you can click on that link in my description. I've also decided to make t-shirts and stickers that says be strong, be brave, be powerful. I made it because maybe if someone sees someone else wearing a shirt like that, or someone asks, you know, what does your shirt mean, or what does that sticker mean, or what does that bumper sticker mean, maybe it'll give us a chance to explain and raise awareness about sexual assault. I want whatever I make off of those merchandise to go back to women and men who have been sexually assaulted. It doesn't even have to be about sexual assault. It can be anything. Life is hard and we're going to be tested, and so you have to be strong, you have to be brave and stand up and be powerful. I know that sounds cheesy and cliche, but it's true, because if you're not brave, if you're not strong, if you're not those things, how are you going to get through it? And how can you expect your daughters and your sons and your siblings and your cousins and everyone around you to get through stuff? I just want to help people. I want to help people who've been through what I have. With that being said, I plan on documenting the rest of my story with taking him and getting justice with the court system. And I'm also going to be doing a video about my experience meeting one of these ladies, because that's an emotional experience for me as well, and it's hard. You know, it's not easy to see someone else who has gone through this and see someone else who has a kid who is a sibling of my first son. If you want to follow along throughout my journey and see where else this story goes and meeting all these other girls and doing all these other things, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Feel free to DM me and ask for my help as well. I try to reply to as many people as I can. Who knows? I don't plan on making a part 3, but I have no idea where this video will go. Whatever the case may be, I will put everything you need in the description box below. With that being said, I will see you guys later this week. Bye.
So after watching Sierra Watts' part 1, it made me think of my own abuse, even though it was more emotional than physical. But after watching Sierra's video, I come to realize that even though forgiveness is the right thing to do, it can be difficult sometimes. I still have not healed from it. It still haunts me to this day, but I know I'm going to get through. And I just want to say that Sierra is a big inspiration. So thank you, Sierra.
I really appreciate you being so open and honest about everything that has made me feel so happy, because you know, not a lot of people that go through the situation are super honest and open about it. So I really thank you for that your video truly did help me, and so many people go through this situation and never speak up on it, but just know you're not alone. But you're amazing, girl. You are truly an inspiration.
Hey Sierra, it's Stephanie. I wanted to say that your video inspired me about opening up to people about what happened to me, and that it helped me realizing that I'm not the only one. I was 18 at the time and was told by a way older guy that he could not have kids, and I got pregnant by him. It helps to show that younger girls are not alone, and they can go through something similar that you went through, and they could probably help stop them going through something like this as well. And I wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much for opening up, and it helps so much that I'm not alone at all in any of this.